Hi, it's Beastly Eel with Eel Talk, and on this episode we're going to be talking about the second episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So the episode starts off with seeing the new Captain America, and we kind of see a little bit of his personality, kind of person as a whole, unfortunately. He's kind of like feeling the pressure of being Captain America. He feels like he's not going to do it well enough, blah, blah, blah. But then his partner comes in. Um, and we hear him say, you can't deal with things with your fist anymore. And that one line, I mean, granted, it's kind of like a throwaway line in the sense of, you know, in that moment it doesn't mean much, but I feel like it's going to mean so much more later because he's sounds like he's not a how do I put it, sane. In the sense of instead of using words and everything else, he's not afraid to just bash people's faces in. Now again, I might be taking it too far, but that's what I took. And then as the episode continues, he's at his old high school, and they're cheering him on as the new Captain America. And Good Morning America interviews him, and that's pretty much how that goes. Um, they have that little interaction, and it just doesn't go well. In the sense of like he's trying so hard to be Captain America without being Captain America. It's very strange. So the next scene has to do with Falcon. Falcon's getting ready to hunt down the Flag Smashers. Now with this, we find out that Bucky has found them. And Bucky's kind of like, I can't believe you gave up the shield, real pissed off. And Falcon's like, man, I don't have time to talk about this. I have work to do. And Winter Soldier's like, well, what's going on? And he tells him about the Flag Smashers, and he's like, oh, I'm in. And Falcon's like, no, you shouldn't come. So he goes. Anyway, big shocker. So they're in the helicopter, not helicopter, sorry, they're in the plane together. And they're not really talking. And Winter Soldier keeps asking, like, what's the plan? What's the plan? And Falcon's just like, I got a plan. Don't worry about it. You don't need to know. And he's not too thrilled about it. So Falcon gets out of the plane, and Winter Soldier's like, well, where's the parachute? And the guy's like, whoa, it's way too low to grab a parachute. And Bucky's like, well, don't worry about it. I don't need one. And he jumps out of the plane. They do a little comedic thing because he falls and hurts himself. And apparently Red Wing, who is Falcon's little robotic sidekick, recorded the whole thing. So Falcon has Red Wing show Bucky the way. They get to this abandoned building, which the Flag Smashers are there. So they're doing all this stealth stuff to find out where they are. And what they figure out is there's about 8 people there. Very strong. Lifting up cargo pretty easily with their bare hands. Loading up 2 trucks, 18-wheelers. So Bucky wants to fight him, and Falcon doesn't think it's a good idea because, there's too many, blah, blah, blah. And then they realize with the Red Wing that they think there's a hostage inside. So Bucky starts to run. Now, I always keep forgetting that he has the super soldier serum in him because I don't know why, I always forget. Anyway, so he runs super fast, and he catches up to the semi with the hostage. He breaks in and he finds out all this medicines there is inside the trailers. And he's telling Falcon that, I have the hostage and it's just a bunch of medical supplies. And it turns out the hostage is not the hostage. She's apparently the leader of the Flag Smashers, and she kicks him. I mean, kicks him once, right out of the truck, and he slams right into the other. More guys pull him up onto the other truck, and now it becomes a full-out brawl. Falcon gets involved, Red Wing gets destroyed, and it looks like the 2 of them are getting their ass handed to them, and not in a fun way. And it continues until two men show up. The new Captain America and his sidekick. So the two of them kind of help out, but it's still just a beatdown. I mean, they're getting their butts handed to them over and over and over again. Um, the new Captain America helps out a little bit better than the others, but it's mostly because he's throwing the shield around, and that's the only reason. Once he lost the shield, he was useless. Falcon and Winter Soldier were knocked off first, mostly because Falcon saved Winter Soldier from hitting the ground or being crushed by the semi truck, to be honest with you. And then the other two got knocked off. So Bucky and Falcon are kind of walking back to, we assume their plane, but realistically we don't know where they're going. And they're talking about how clearly they're super soldiers as well, because they are way too pumped up. So anyway, they're walking, and I don't want to say the wrong name, but it was clearly a military like jeep. And the military jeep pulls up and it's like, guys, come on in. And it's the new Captain America, and the other guy. I don't even remember his name. I feel so bad, but I don't like either of them, so it doesn't matter. And Falcon and Winter Soldier are just like, no, don't want to get in. And finally, they get him, and this is where we kind of get to see the new guy kind of acting way too tough for himself since he's brand new, and how he's earned the right to be Captain America. He beat everybody else, and it's kind of like finally Bucky was like, I'm out, I'm done. And then he says something that pissed off Falcon, and Falcon's like, I'm out too. And he was all PO'd. He's just like, you know what, just keep going. Let them be. So Falcon and Winter Soldier are talking more, and they're kind of talking about like, well, what are they going to do? What do they have to do? Like, they have nobody to talk to, and they want to know how there were multiple people with the super soldier serum. Well, Bucky claims that he knows somebody. So what happens is they go to a shitty area. I couldn't even tell you where, and it's pretty much a house that says no trespassing and everything else. And Bucky knocks on the door, and this kid opens it and is like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's telling him he wants to see the guy in the house. I want to say it was Isaac or Isaiah. I forget. Doesn't matter. And he's like, "There's nobody by that name." And he's like, "Tell him I'm the guy from such and such," which happens to be from the Korean War. We find out a little bit later. So anyway, the guy comes back and he's like, he wants to see you. So he comes in, and then we see this old man. Unhappy to see Winter Soldier, by the way. And we find out he's from the Korean War, and he was injected with the super soldier serum, and then was later arrested and experimented on for shits and giggles, unfortunately. And so we kind of see a darker side. And it's not that surprising, because if Hydra was around the whole time with S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything else, it's not surprising that he was captured, tortured, and experimented on to try to replicate the super soldier serum even more. That being said, apparently the fight between him and the Winter Soldier left Bucky with missing his arm, his robotic arm. And he just wanted to, and I quote, see it if his arm grew back. And told him to get out of the house, and he throws something and smashes right into the wall. And they leave, because they don't want to make it worse than it already is. So the two of them step outside, and they're arguing because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And Falcon's pissed off because he's like, how the hell you can't tell us that? You know, that's messed up. And he's like, to be honest with you, he's already gone through enough. I didn't want to make it worse. And that's when the police show up. And they're how do I put it? Being stereotypical cops and automatically blaming Falcon for the disturbance, assuming that Bucky is the one who's being harassed. Um, which, I mean, is not surprising whatsoever, unfortunately, especially in the world we live in. But anyway, it turns out that they realize, oh, it's Falcon. Oops, my bad. I didn't recognize you. So you're clearly not one of the bad ones, um, which is just awful when you really think about it. And then Bucky gets arrested because he missed his therapy session, and it was court mandated, so he got arrested. So Falcon shows up to the prison, police station, and he gets let out because, well, because Captain America, the new Captain America, gave him a pardon and basically states that, hey, just fix him up. I need him out there in the field. So the two of them are going to have a therapy session because the therapist is there. So this was probably the most funny but also awkward scenes in the whole episode. And it's where we really get to see Bucky and Falcon really kind of, Bucky and Sam kind of really going at it with each other. And we find out really what their issue is. Winter Soldier's pissed off because Sam turned down the shield. And that must mean that Steve was wrong about Sam being the right guy for it. And then he's starting to doubt himself, because if he was wrong about Sam, then he's probably wrong about him too. And that's what hurts him the most. Sam doesn't really go into detail, but he makes it seem like he thought he was doing the right thing by giving up the shield. And I think it's because he didn't think he was worthy. I really do. I really think he was not doing it to be disrespectful. He was doing it because he thought it would be the best thing. And I think he's more pissed off that somebody else has taken the shield. So the therapy session ends because they're just not happy with each other. I think I skipped a bit, but we're going to go back a little bit and talk about the Flag Smashers. Because the Flag Smashers they escape. They get to a little abandoned building that everyone's just so happy to be a part of. They escape there, I should say. They sleep, then they leave. They grab their plane, and they're starting to load it up, and now people are starting to find them. And one of their men decides to sacrifice himself to give them time to escape. And they keep calling it One World, One People, which I'm assuming is going to be their catchphrase, which is just, I don't know, creepy. And it's all about because they want to be a part, they want everything to go back to the way it was before, where the resources were good, and they feel like people who were there the whole time are getting shafted, while all the people who just came back are given all the resources. Which probably is true. So anyway, that guy sacrifices himself. They kill him. Kind of sad. I mean, sad in the sense of he just sacrificed himself as it's a terrorist group, and they believe what they're doing is right, even if they're doing it the wrong way. And he sacrificed himself for what he thought was the right cause, and it's just, yeah, it's never fun to see. They escape. So anyway, back to the police station. Captain America is waving the two of them over, and neither one of them are happy. So at least hear him out. So Captain America is basically like, guys, we need to start working together, because if we don't work together, we're just going to fail. And Falcon was more civil about it. Winter Soldier didn't want anything to do with it from the get-go. And they were trying to get information out of Captain America, and he really didn't have much. He was like, we don't really know where they are. We know what they're doing in the sense of they're using civilians to hide out in because people are for the cause. And they're kind of just like, you know what, we're out. And they're like, we need you. You need us. I'm Captain America, and we really need to work together. Very much acting like the boss, which has got to be the worst thing. So Falcon finally says, you guys have to deal with diplomacy and everything else. We are free agents. We can do what we want. So you'll be really slowing us down. So we're out. And Captain America says to him, well, just make sure you stay out of my way then. So the two of them, Falcon and Winter Soldier, are walking away. And Winter Soldier comes up with the idea that he should talk to Zemo. Now, for those of you who don't remember who that is, he was from Civil War. He was the guy who grabbed the book to try to control Bucky to be the Winter Soldier again. Because he knows he knows that guy knows all of Hydra's secrets, which then means he should know about the Super Soldier Serum and how it got out again. So Falcon wasn't thrilled with the idea, but he agrees. And the episode ends with us seeing Baron Zemo in prison. That was the end of the episode. Alright, so we found out that the Flag Smashers organization is run by a female, and she is kicking butt. We don't know anything else, though, pretty much. I mean, we know what their reason for doing what they do. They want to bring the world back from before it was a blip. Before the blip, sorry. The new Captain America is a jerk. Not that surprising. Nobody was going to like him to begin with. He's way too cocky. He's nothing like Steve. And I think he's taking the power and letting it corrupt him. And he's not doing necessarily anything bad. He's just being cocky and acting as if he's the boss, which is just not the case. We really get to see in this episode why Sam and Bucky are not happy with the idea of that guy being Captain America, because he has the shield, and frankly, they both agree that guy shouldn't have it, but they disagree on how to deal with it. Agent 13 was mentioned. She's apparently been blacklisted, so that's interesting. After everything that happened in Civil War, I want to say Civil War, she must have been blacklisted and kicked out of the CIA. So I'll be interested to see her come back, because she's supposed to be in this. Baron Zemo is going to be playing a part, and he's in prison, so that'll be interesting to see what he does. Who knows what happens with that. And a big thing, which shouldn't be that big of a shock, there are multiple super soldiers throughout history, which isn't that surprising, because that was the case in the comics. They tried to replicate it all the time, and they were never the best copies. And plus we already knew that the Super Soldier Serum was out because of Civil War, with the Winter Soldier projects, all the Winter Soldiers. So, yeah. So it's definitely, where I think it's going is Baron Zemo is going to give them information. He's going to escape prison because of it. The new Captain America is going to get in the way of Winter Soldier and Falcon, and they're going to have to fight him. And I really still think that Baron Zemo had something to do with the Flag Smashers, but it's starting to look less likely because of everything going on. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, definitely much more action in this one, much more understanding of the characters, and much more of, unfortunately, the new Captain America, which I can imagine most of the heroes are not a fan, period. Plus, he's just way too government. I think that's another thing that pisses people off, is he's just considers himself the government, and it's irritating as all hell. But it's interesting to see what the next 4 episodes are going to be about. But for right now, that's pretty much it for episode 2. Um, as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. This is Beastly Eel signing out. So have a good night.